Welcome to the deep dive. There's this phrase, right? You hear it all the time. Boardrooms, self-help books, maybe even just chatting with friends about, getting ahead. Fake it till you make it. Huh. It's so intriguing, sort of like a secret code for success. But what's really behind it? Does it actually work? Today, we are diving deep into exactly that. We've got some really fascinating sources lined up. We're looking at personal wealth stories, even some surprising angles on crypto investing. And we're also digging into the psychology. Why does this idea feel so powerful? And maybe more importantly, when can it be, well, a bit of a trap?
Exactly. That's the mission today. We want to kind of peel back the layers on this catchy phrase, move beyond just the surface idea. We're going to unpack when fake it till you make it can actually be a tool for real growth. But also, crucially, look at when it might lead you astray. The goal here is clarity for you and some real actionable insights. Get past the slogan to what it really means.
Okay, so let's unpack it then. Because I think for a lot of us, the first reaction to fake it till you make it is, well, it sounds a bit like being dishonest, like putting on a false front. But the stuff we looked at suggests something maybe more nuanced, something actually quite empowering.
That's right. It's not really about being a phony or, lying about what you can do. That's not the useful interpretation. Instead, the core idea we found is more about acting as if. You act like you already have the confidence or the qualities you're aiming for. But, and this is the key part, you do it with the intention of building the real skills. You're working to make that act become your reality. Think of it like behavior leading to belief. You adopt the mindset, the actions, to sort of shape your future self.
Ah, okay. So it's less about deception, more like stepping into that future role while you're actively building the skills to fill it. Using that initial push, that mindset shift to actually start growing. I like that quote one source used. They say the fool didn't know it was impossible, so he did it. That kind of captures it, doesn't it? Acting before you feel 100% ready.
Precisely. And, this isn't just some motivational fluff. There's actual psychology behind why this can work. Our research pointed to a couple of key theories. First, there's self-perception theory. This basically suggests that we often figure out our own feelings by watching our own actions. Sounds a bit weird, but think about it. If you act confident in a meeting, even if you're nervous inside, your brain can start to register that behavior as, hey, maybe I am confident. You're giving yourself cues. And then there's cognitive dissonance. This happens when your actions and your beliefs don't quite line up. It creates this mental discomfort. So to reduce that discomfort, you might unconsciously shift your beliefs to match what you did. Like, pushing through a really tough run you didn't want to do, and then afterwards thinking, wow, I actually feel amazing. I love running. Your brain makes it make sense.
That's really interesting. So our actions can literally change how we see ourselves. So how does that work in practice? How does the imitation become real? How does pretending actually turn into genuine confidence?
Yeah, it's usually a gradual thing. It's not like flipping a switch. It starts with consciously choosing new behaviors. Maybe it's deciding, okay, I am going to speak up in this meeting, even if your voice shakes a bit. Or maybe it's dressing the part for the role you want, not just the one you have. As you repeat these things consistently, they become habits, less conscious effort. And then, as you start getting positive results of a good feedback, maybe a small success, landing a project, your self-perception shifts. You start thinking, maybe I am capable. It's like learning to ride a bike, right? At first, it's all conscious effort, super wobbly, but eventually it just becomes second nature. You don't even think about it. So for you listening, the practical advice here is really start small. Don't try to say everything at once. Pick one specific behavior linked to the confidence or skill you want. Practice that. And remember, the point isn't becoming someone else. It's about unlocking potential that's already there.
Okay, so behavior leads to belief. Gradual process. Start small. Got it. But when does this strategy really pay off? When does the acting actually lead to, real authentic success? Not just a short-term trick.
Right. That's the crucial part. It can be a really powerful catalyst when used correctly. One key way is through building confidence via action and even posture. Like the research suggests that simply standing tall, adopting a more confident stance, or taking decisive action, even when you feel uncertain, that can trigger a positive feedback loop in your brain. Your body tells your brain you're confident, and your brain starts to, believe it. You're kind of faking it for yourself, and it works. And second, it's a fantastic tool for just getting started, for pushing past that initial wall of self-doubt. We all have that resistance sometimes, right? That little voice saying, you can't do this. Acting as if can be the nudge you need to take that first step. And once you're moving, momentum builds. Action leads to confidence, which fuels more action. It's a positive cycle. And finally, it really taps into the power of how you see yourself, your self-perception. How you view yourself has a huge impact on what you achieve. So by acting like you're already successful or capable, you start to internalize that. You build a more positive self-image, and that image then helps you achieve more, becomes self-fulfilling.
That makes so much sense. You're basically creating evidence for your brain to believe in your own capability. And this isn't just theory, right? One of our sources gave a really concrete example of this, the author diving into crypto futures, using this exact mindset for a wealth goal.
Yes, it's a great real-world illustration. The author calls themselves a wealth explorer, which I kind of like. And they consciously use this approach, acting with intention, learning quickly, starting small to get into crypto futures, also called perpetuals or perps, which, can seem pretty intimidating. Just quickly, for anyone unfamiliar, crypto futures let you bet on where prices like Bitcoin or Ethereum are going without actually buying the coins. And these perps, they don't expire like traditional futures. Plus, they usually involve leverage. Leverage means you control a bigger position with less money down, but, and this is critical, it hugely ramps up the risk. So here's where the fake it till you make it was applied responsibly. The author stressed they didn't YOLO in, just throw money at it recklessly. Instead, they invested first in education, joined an academy, learned the ropes, understood the risks involved. Then they started really small. Test trades. Used a platform called Femex, which is apparently good for beginners. And very importantly, they put it in context. For them, this futures trading, it's a tiny, experimental part of their overall money. Most is in safer stuff, like ETFs, those baskets of stocks. So it really shows how faking it productively means informed action. It means education, research, calculated risks. Not just blind confidence. The advice was crystal clear. Know your own finances. Figure out what tiny percentage, if any, you're okay risking on something new and speculative like this. Always look before you leap.
Okay, that's a really good example of using it right. But like you said, there's always a flip side. Where does this go wrong? When does fake it till you make it backfire?
Yeah, and this distinction is absolutely critical. It really comes down to what you're faking. There's a massive difference between, say, faking confidence, which is more behavioral thing you can practice, and faking competence, which is about hard skills. You can act confident when you're nervous presenting, and that might actually help you present better. But if you claim you're a master surgeon and you've never held a scalpel, that's not faking it. That's, well, fraud. It will fall apart instantly. Hard skills need real knowledge. They're verifiable. It's much better to be honest about what you don't know yet, but show you're eager to learn. Which leads to the next danger zone. Crossing the line from aspiration into outright misrepresentation. It's fine to say, I'm aspiring to be a great leader, and act with leadership qualities while you learn. It's not fine to say, I have successfully led multi-million-dollar projects if you haven't. That's just lying. It kills trust, damages your integrity. And, the sources shared some cautionary tales. When people take this way too far, it becomes actual deception, fraud. And the consequences can be huge. Lost jobs, ruined reputations, even legal trouble. The truth tends to surface eventually, right? And the cost of that kind of faking is incredibly high.
That distinction, confidence versus competence, that's really key. And I was thinking that pressure to constantly fake it, couldn't that actually make you feel worse? Especially if you're already prone to, imposter syndrome.
Oh, absolutely. It's a real risk. If you misunderstand fake it till you make it, it can seriously fuel imposter syndrome. If you're always acting, always putting on a front, that fear of being found out can get even stronger. It creates this awful cycle where the faking itself makes you feel like more of a fraud, reinforcing the idea that you're not really good enough. You feel like you're just borrowing confidence, not earning it. So to counter that feeling, that sense of being fraudulent, you need different strategies, like actively acknowledging what you have achieved. Maybe even keep a list of your wins, big or small. Challenge those negative thoughts. Where's the actual evidence you're a fraud? Often there isn't any solid proof. And crucially, shift your focus. Aim for learning and growth, not some impossible standard of perfection. It's okay not to know everything. Mistakes are part of getting better.
Okay, so if the goal isn't just perpetual faking, how do we actually make it? How do we build that genuine, lasting confidence that comes from, really knowing your stuff and feeling secure in who you are?
Well, the most straightforward way to stop feeling like you're faking it is to actually learn the thing. Instead of just acting like, project management, go learn project management. Take a course, read books, find someone who does it well and ask questions. Find a mentor. Confidence that's built on real skill, real knowledge, that's solid, it's sustainable. You don't need bravado when you actually know what you're doing. The need to fake just melts away. One of the sources offered a really neat framework for this kind of sustainable growth. They called it the 4C formula. First C is competence. This is the foundation. Build the actual skills. The more competent you are, the less you'll need to fake anything. Second is confidence. As you build competence, genuine confidence follows naturally. And remember to celebrate the small wins, they boost that confidence along the way. Third is courage. This is about stepping out of your comfort zone, taking on challenges that stretch you. This is where that initial act as if can be helpful, to give you the push, but always aiming for real competence. And the final C is character, staying true to your values, operating with integrity. Authentic confidence isn't just about skill. It's about knowing who you are and acting consistently with that.
I like that. Competence, confidence, courage, character. It feels grounded, but what about setbacks? Life isn't linear, right? We try things, sometimes we fail, self-doubt comes roaring back. How do we build resilience?
Resilience is huge, yeah. And the sources talked about self-compassion. Basically, being kind to yourself when you mess up. Everyone makes mistakes. It doesn't mean you're a failure. Also, focusing on your strengths. What are you genuinely good at? Build from there. And setting realistic goals. Break big ambitions down. Small steps feel less daunting. Authentic confidence isn't about never doubting yourself or never failing. It's about being real, accepting you're not perfect, celebrating what you can do, and just keeping that commitment to learning and growing. Facing the doubt, not just pretending it isn't there.
We've covered a lot, from personal growth to crypto. What really struck me was how these ideas, mindset, taking action, learning, connect to broader things too, like how we think about wealth.
Yeah, that was an interesting thread. Remember the Trading Places movie reference? It highlights how sometimes financial success isn't just about raw talent, but about your environment, your access to information, opportunities. It's a reminder that wealth isn't always purely merit-based. Your surroundings, who you know, what systems you understand, they matter hugely, which reinforces that idea of auditing your environment, seeking out mentors. It connects back to making informed choices, just like with the crypto example. And even the origin of the piggy bank, that came up too, apparently from old clay jars called pig pots.
No way.
Yeah, it's a simple reminder that starting small, saving consistently, that's a timeless way to build wealth. Again, echoes that start small advice for trying new things. So this act as if mindset, it really can ripple out. It can change how you interact with people. Maybe acting a bit more outgoing helps you become genuinely friendlier or help you grow professionally. Acting like the leader you want to be can help you step into that role. It's about believing you can change and using your actions to reinforce that belief.
It's amazing how diving into one phrase opened up all these other connections, managing money, understanding systems, not just psychology. We even touched on things like bill negotiation apps saving you money, hidden home buying costs like taxes and pests, and why surveys are just pocket money, not careers. A real potpourri of insights came through. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive then, if there's one core message, one big takeaway you hope our listener walks away with about fake it till you make it, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing is this: fake it till you make it can be a really useful psychological nudge, especially for boosting confidence, trying new things, adopting better habits. But in its huge but, it has to be paired with genuine effort, real learning, developing actual skills, and acting with integrity. Without that, it's just empty posturing, or worse, deception. With it, it could be a springboard to authentic competence and feeling genuinely good about yourself. It's about progress, not pretending you're already perfect.
Progress, not perfection. I like that. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe think about this. Where in your life have you perhaps faked it a little just to get started? And what's one concrete thing you could do, maybe even this week, to start building the real competence behind that initial act? How can you turn the faking into genuine making? Something to reflect on. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope this gives you a clearer, more useful way to think about pushing your boundaries and growing authentically.